Hi, this is John Page, Chairperson and Chief Adjudicator for the Plan Plus Global Financial Planning Awards. We were here last year helping FPAM organize your first annual Malaysian Financial Planner of the Year Award, and we're back again this year. And I've got just a short agenda to go through with you. Let's have a look. I'm going to cover briefly an overview of the awards, talk to you about why you should enter. Then we'll get into some tips for picking the right file. And last, and probably most important, we'll talk about how do you go about completing your initial submission form. So let's get right into it. The overview of the awards, the registration is open from February 1 to April 1 this year. The finalists will be announced on April 23rd and the winners announced on May 15th. And as you can see, we've got some pretty good prizes there. The competition is open to all Malaysian licensed financial planners with a recognized designation. And I should also mention that you have to be a member of a professional association, a member in good standing, of course. The winner of the awards is going to advance to the Plan Plus Global Financial Planning Awards and compete in the Asia's Region Finals. And the winner there will get airfare, 5-star hotel and accommodations, as well as admission to the MFPYA Business and Education Conference in Baltimore, Maryland, to be held on September 14th through 16th. So, why should you enter? I wouldn't think most people would enter because of the idea of winning a prize. I think most people will enter because they recognize it's a prestigious award. And unlike other awards, this is based solely on the quality of your work as a planner and on the value you created for your client. This is a chance to be a hero with your clients. And you will get some recognition just for showing up because we're going to issue competition certificates. So I know with a competition like this, a lot of times people enter not really thinking that they're going to win, but they do it for the experience. However, someone will win. Why not you? And as mentioned, the winner will advance to the Global Financial Planning Awards finals in the Asia region. So, a few tips for entering. You want to look for a situation in which you added a ton of value to a client. And generally over the course of the year, you'll have one or two client files that kind of pop up above the rest in terms of the amount of value you were able to create for the client. You want to pick one of those. And chances are they'll have some big needs. They could have a very high income and a very large estate and have some complicated estate problems to deal with. Or it could be someone at the opposite end of the spectrum, someone with a very low income and struggling just to get by. In either situation, you'll probably find it was a messy situation, disorganized, and that, of course, is why they needed you. So, the initial submission form. Once you register, and you'll find the initial submission form, it has 8 questions. And pay attention because you're not going to submit your plan right now. You're going to answer 8 questions. And the judges will then score you based on your answers to these questions. So the first question is, what were the client's goals? And it could be something like a worry-free retirement, orderly estate distribution, peace of mind. It could be a number of things. What were the client's objectives is the second question. And that will be things that are quantifiable, such as a specific amount of retirement income starting at a certain time. The third area deals with challenges. What challenges did your client have? And a challenge, by that we mean a situation in which there's not a simple financial solution to it. Could be something like poor health, uninsurable, started very late to plan. So articulate what their challenge was and talk about how you overcame that challenge. Problems. Most of your client files will have some sort of problem, and most of them have solutions. So you need to describe the type of analysis you use to quantify the problems. Use specific numbers rather than generalities, and not all the problems are numerical. You could have problems like an outdated will, a will where the executor already died. Recommendations would be the next area. Here you got to be very specific. We want to know exactly what recommendations did you make. And you may find that in some situations a client who had certain objectives, once you did the analysis, you quantified the problems, you found that basically there was no way they were going to be able to realistically reach their objectives. That's something you need, of course, to address. You can't just leave it that way. You have to help them alter their objectives in some manner that you come up with a situation that works for them. Recommend nothing that you can't show them how to do is always a good guideline to follow. Results. Tell us what results the client should get by following your plan, and you need to be very specific here. The next area is an action plan. Here we want to know what, when, why, how, and who. We want to know very specifically what actions are you suggesting the client take, and in what order should they take them. Here's where you really have to stand up and be counted. You can't be wishy-washy. You need to cover everything that needs to be done between now and the next time a review is done. And of course there should be a date set for the next review that should be documented right in your plan. Benefits. What benefits did the client get, or will they get, from adopting your recommendations? And here you don't need to limit yourself to quantifiable financial benefits, although certainly there will be some of those. And for those you want to be as concise as possible. But it could be things like they've achieved so much peace of mind they're able to throw away their tranquilizers. So there could be many possible benefits other than just financial ones. So that gives you a quick overview of the initial submission form and a bit of instruction on how to complete it. You may have some questions, and if you do, we want to hear from you. You send your questions to the address that you see there on the screen, and we will get back with you just as quick as we possibly can. So this is John Page reminding you that you should go and register right now, because the number of entries is capped and we want to make sure that you get in. So we'll look forward to seeing your entry and have a lot of fun doing the entry.